special speaker this morning that's come to us to speak to us about her missionary work. I don't know much about her missionary work. We was going to find out today, so we're going to let her do her talking about her missionary work. And this is Bev Douglass Campbell. Would you come at this time?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have, you guys don't have PowerPoint, and so we're going to plan to, and it's not that I haven't ever done this before, so I have brochures, and we'll just pass one of these out to everybody, and a newsletter, and we're going to just kind of go with the news, or with the, I don't know, Sharon or somebody, oh, careful. Anyway, we're going to kind of, this is going to tell us about the mission. It's not going to be pictures like I'm used to, but it is. I just want you guys to know right now, you guys talk funny. I'm from Oregon, but it's okay. I can talk Minnesotan if I want to, because I lived 25 years in Minnesota. But yeah, I kind of like the South drawl that you have. I think, what did you say? So anyway, I'm sorry. If I don't talk normal, it's not my fault, it's your fault. So anyway, I'm Bev Campbell. I have worked with the South Sudan African Mission for 7 years. I know that's not very long in some people's terms, but 7 years. In 2009, I went to South Sudan with my dad, Paul Douglas, and he kept saying, Bev, I want you to work with the mission. And I kept saying, no, I don't need it. I was an insurance agent in Rochester, Minnesota, and loved my job. There's not been too many jobs I don't like, but I did like my job. And Dad kept saying, you need to come to South Sudan with me. And I kept saying, no, I'm not going. So finally, just to get him off my back, I said, okay, fine, I'll go. And that was in April of '09. And I came back to work and just was thinking, I think it was August, September, sometime or another, I thought, okay, maybe I want to do more with my life than just be a good insurance agent. And so I called Dad and I said, okay, I'm ready to talk about that. And in October of '09, I packed up my U-Haul and moved to Portland. I've looked back, yes I have, because I have 3 grandkids in Minnesota, but I am loving what I do. And so that's kind of how I got to where I was, but we're going to go all the way back to 1987. There's a little bit, if you open up the inside of your little brochure there, tells the history. 1987, ICE, International Disaster Emergency Service. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're based in Noblesville. It says Kempton, but they've since moved since we printed this. They are based in Noblesville, Indiana, and they're a Christian Church of Christ organization that takes funds and then funnels them to other disaster relief. They had bought a mobile workshop and had it on the dock in Khartoum, Sudan. Nobody could get into Sudan as a missionary, but you could get into Sudan as a medical technician. There is not a motor my dad does not know how to fix. He's 89 and still overhauling cars. He'll be 90 in January, and he was able to be I've been over at Lexington at the conference, International Conference on Missions, and he was able to come for a day. Still pretty good. He's up in Cincinnati at my nephew's right now. But anyway, I sent Dad to Khartoum to repair hospital equipment, and he was given 8 men from the Sudanese government to learn that machine. It was a mobile workshop that had grinders and lathes and all kinds of machines that I have no idea about. But anyway, they were inside this mobile workshop, so just imagine a semi-truck that had all these machines in it, and that's what it was. And so the government gave Dad 8 men. Your new was one of the men that the government gave Dad to learn this mobile workshop, learn the machines. And then they would be able to go into the hospitals. They didn't have Hardware Hank or Home Depot or any of those. I don't know what you guys have for hardware stores around here, but they had to go into the hospital, figure out what needed to be made, come into the machine shop and make that part, and then go back into the hospital and repair the equipment. Dad was the perfect one. He just retired. He was a auto mechanics teacher at high school. He just retired, and I know my dad would have never just sat around doing nothing. He just was at the right place at the right time. So he went over there to teach these men the mobile workshop. Your new was the one person, there's a picture of your new and I down there in the brochure, that was Dad's watchman, his translator, his driver. He became Dad's #1 man. And Dad, he was out in the yard studying one afternoon, and Dad went out there and said, "Do you know what you're reading?" Dad said, "No." Oh, I left my Bible back there. Doesn't matter. And so Dad went out and taught your new. He had been a Dinka. Have you heard of the Lost Boys of South Sudan? Some of the young men that fled South Sudan because of the war going on. He had fled up to northern part of South Sudan. There's 2 countries now. In 2011, they became 2 countries. So anyway, he had fled because of the war going on. It was just a God thing again, that your new was at the right place, and God gave Dad your new. And so he was out there studying, and eventually Dad took him to the White Nile and baptized your new. And then pretty soon your new said, "I want to go back into my village," which is Malek, of South Sudan, and work with my people, but I don't know how to. So Dad came back to the States, and I say mom, or Dad, but I mean my mom too. My mom was right there with him all the way. Mom took her sewing machine over there and was making clothes for the kids in the orphanages, and making diapers and all kinds of things. So it was a mom and dad thing, but I say dad quite often. And so Dad and Mom came back to the States and started raising funds to send your new to Zimbabwe to Bible college. And after 14 young men went to Bible college in either Zimbabwe or Nairobi, they said, well, we can have our own Bible college here. So they started the Awil Bible College. And in January 7th, I'm going to be over there attending the 4th graduation of their Bible college. So it's going to be a prayer request. It's not a really safe country to be going to, but December 31st, I'll be leaving with Steve, our director, and his grandson's going with us this time to go over to the graduation. And so anyway, we started the Bible college. They started the Bible college. And then pretty soon your new says, how can I teach the people when they're dying in my arms? There's only 5 hospitals in all of South Sudan, and there's 11 million people in the country. So it's a very populated country. And how do you, and the Antioch Christian Hospital is one of them, and it's really just a glorified clinic. I'm from Rochester, Minnesota. What is Rochester known for? The Mayo Clinic? Okay. Whew. And so this is not the Mayo Clinic to these people. You know, they don't do, I feel like I'm confined to this microphone. They don't do brain surgery. They are not. But when I was there in 2009, and your news wife said, see that tree over there? And I said, yeah. And she said, a lady gave birth under that tree this afternoon to twins. That's what we're dealing with. You know, it's not, there's no electricity, there's no running water, there's no modern bathrooms, there's nothing that we think of as modern. So that's what we're dealing with. It's a mud hut village. I wish I had some pictures to show you, but that's okay. Anyway, so Dad came back to the States again and started raising funds for the Antioch Christian Hospital. And in October of 2009, the hospital was dedicated. And like I said, it's just a glorified clinic. We have Dr. Grang on staff. He's been there. When we asked Dr. Grang how long he'd gone to school, he said 10 months. I don't think I want a doctor telling me what's wrong with me when he's only had 10 months worth of schooling. But he deals with the malaria, he deals with typhoid, he deals with animal bites, those sort of things. So he's not doing brain surgery, obviously. So that's been our 2 biggest focuses, is the hospital and the Bible college. In 2015, Steve, our director, one of our directors, was over there, and Dr. John had pretty much been raised by the mission, and he was in Ethiopia finishing up his doctorate, a real doctorate degree. And Steve said, "What is your vision for the mission?" And Dr. John says, "I'd like to have a mobile medical clinic that I can go out into the villages, because there's only, until recently, only 53 miles of paved roads in all of South Sudan, which is from what, here to, I don't know where anything is around here, Lexington. How far is Lexington away? 19, okay, so it's further than that. Anyway, 53 miles of paved roads, so you can, and so they didn't have the ability to get to the hospital. And so he said, "I would like to have a mobile medical clinic that I can go out into the villages and heal or treat these people." And he says, "Well, I'm treating them physically. I want some of the Bible college students to go with me and teach them the Bible." And then some of the young ladies have been going with them, and they teach them health issues, teach them how to care for their children, how to make sure they wash their hands. Simple things that we know and we take so for granted, they're not used to it. When they don't have running water, they just don't think of those things. And so Regina, our first young lady that graduated in 2015, she's been going out into the villages with the mobile medical clinic and teaching them to read. They don't know how to read. They know they know English. The younger people know English. The older people still teach or speak Dinka, which is their dialect. And so that's kind of where the mobile medical clinic, well anyway, Dr. John says, "I'd like to have this mobile medical clinic." I kind of got ahead of my story here. And so they found a Toyota something or another, and it was $90,000. And so Steve was pastor of a church up in Anchorage, Alaska. At the time he went to his mission committee and he said, this is our proposal. And they said, "You raise $45,000, we as the mission, and we'll match that $45,000. When Steve called me, I thought, oh my, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But it was people like you, people like whoever, just individuals that came through. And then the church put on it, and you only have 90 days to do it. Well, we asked for an extension. We had the money in 110 days. And so we were able to purchase the mobile medical clinic, and I don't have a picture of it. Anyway, it's just a nice Isuzu Trooper or that sort of a vehicle. If I said this, but I think you guys would know, it's kind of like a veterinary car or truck that goes out. If I say that in Portland, they look at me like they have no clue what I'm talking about. So I think you guys could relate to it. One that has all their equipment in the back of it. And so that's what the mobile medical clinic is. And they just bring tents, sleep out there in their little villages. We're talking mud hut villages too. And very remote. Most people walk or ride their bikes. There are a few bikes. There are very few motor bikes. The only vehicle is the mobile medical clinic, more than likely. So anyway, that's what we do with the mobile medical clinic, is to teach them both with the Bible, teach them health things, try to treat them physically. We are able to send $100,000 a year in medicine into South Sudan. That's never enough. It's never enough, just because there's so much illnesses in the country. So, but we do what we just try to do. So those have been our three major outreaches, are the hospital, the Bible college, and then the mobile medical clinic. And we try to take every dollar that is given to us and try to make a life impact to those people over there. And then we found out that they don't have Bibles. And the church or the government is not opposed to us teaching them, even in the schools. And so we're raising money for Bibles to get over there in their language, whether it's Dinka or English. The young people can speak English. And then they're starving because of the war that's been going on. I don't know, you hear about Sudan once in a while in the news. 2011, North Sudan and South Sudan split. North Sudan is mostly Muslim, South Sudan is Christian. And they want to be a Christian nation, but then they figured out, they haven't figured out to stop fighting. And the president is newer of South Sudan, president is Dinka and the vice president is newer. And so it'd be like a Republican and Democratic. I used to say, but being in Portland lately where they're shooting everybody and rioting and everything because of the election, I'm not going there on that one. But anyway, I used to say at least we don't get shot at when we find out who we voted for, but they do. And so it's a very hostile environment. The Newer's children are taught that the Dinka are evil, and the Dinka are taught that the Newer are evil, and we don't want anything to do with them. How do you try and get a country to come together when they've been taught all these years to hate each other? And so our message to them is let's be one tribe under Christ, and let's stop being two tribes. We don't care if you're Dinka or Newer. Let's be one tribe under Christ, one tribe of David under Christ. And so that's our message to them. Santino and Peter Gadet are newer, so it's not like we favor one tribe over the other. You're new, and Joseph and Paulino and those, I can rattle off some more. They're of the Dinka tribe, so we do work with both tribes. And we try to be fair with both sides. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are. But food has become a huge problem. In our newsletter there that I handed out, it's $9 for 2 pounds of sorghum. I used to think that sorghum was something grown in the South as a sweetener, but when I Googled it, it says, yeah, there is a certain kind of sorghum that they use in Africa for grain. And so, but 9 pounds, I think of 2-pound bag of sugar that I can buy at the grocery store for 9 pounds, and that's supposed to feed my family for months. It's just heartbreaking. And I put in that newsletter, we will have more food on our Thanksgiving table than those people will see in a month or a year possibly. And one of my favorite stories, I have several, but when I was there in '09, there was Elizabeth, and Mary. We were in the mud hut. They were teaching me Dinka, and I was teaching them English. They already knew English, so I wasn't teaching them anything. But I would write down the word horse, and they would write the word Dinka word for me. And then we'd go water, and they would, and so then your new had gone to the village and had gotten some carrots. That's the only vegetable I had seen all week that we were there. And I wrote down carrot. They talked amongst themselves in Dinka, and pretty soon one of them said, we have no word for that in our mother tongue. And I thought, whoa. And so Myron was with us, one of our other board members. He had a pocket knife, and so I said, take it to the kitchen, which is just an open air, it'd be like a bonfire out in the field. And so they took it and washed it and scraped it, brought it back, we penny sliced it, and they tasted that carrot. They finally said, we have no word for that in our mother tongue. They had never eaten a carrot before. Okay, let's be honest, how many of us have let carrots rot in our crispers at home? Just because we are so affluent with food. We let, whether it's a carrot or potato or whatever it is, I'm as guilty as you guys are. I cleaned my fridge out 2 weeks ago before I left, and it's like, oh man, how'd I let that rot? You know, or something. We just are so affluent. It's Thanksgiving. What are we thankful for? What time do I have to be done? What time is it? Oh, it's almost done. We are just so very, what are we thankful for? That I could go, our medical, I know we think medical is horrible here, but we are not sitting for hours. I wish I had pictures to show you. for hours. Yeah, here's a picture of them in the waiting room, waiting to see the doctor in the hospital. We would never do that. If we wait more than 15 minutes for the doctor, what are we going, you know, they're wasting my time, I could be doing other stuff. But we are so blessed with the medical. What about electricity? How many electrical appliances did it take you to get ready for church this morning? All the way from the coffee pot to the hot water heater to a shower. They don't have showers there, I can tell you that much. You know, they don't have running water, they don't, or the microwave, or the curling iron. I know that's important to some of you guys, just kidding. You know, the curling iron, the hair dryers, the whatever, we are so dependent on electricity and they don't have that here. What else do we have that is a blessing? Transportation, they walk most of the way. Like I said, there's only 53 miles of paved roads. They walk, most of the young girls are the ones that walk to a neighboring village or a river or somewhere to get clean water. The young girls don't go to school because that's their job, to go get water for the family. And it's still not really clean water, but we have a well there in Malek, in our little village, that the Sudan Mission has been able to drill with funds from people like you, but they don't have running water. So we are so blessed, people. If I can't tell you anything else, you know, at this time of Thanksgiving, we are so blessed. And we are blessed to be a blessing to them. So we try to take every dollar that is given to us. I'm the only one on staff. I don't have 10 or 15 people in Gresham, Oregon, helping this mission out. We have a budget about $387, and we send over $387,000. We send over $350,000 to them over there, just to do the Lord's work. So what I'm saying is we are very, very cautious, and we try to be trustworthy, and every dollar that comes, whether it's for a Bible, if you want it to go for a Bible, we designate it as a Bible. If it goes for food, we try very hard to take that dollar and promote Christ and bring Christ to the people of South Sudan. So that's where our mission is to be out. What can you do? Pray. Of course you can pray. We covet your prayers. It's not a safe place, especially December 31st. Be thinking and praying for us. There's going to be 3 of us going in there. We're going in under the radar. It's not going to be on social media or anything that we are going in there. But we will put stuff out after the fact. And then January 7th is graduation. Then we'll be returning around the 12th or 13th. So that's a time to pray. Pray for us for safety as we're going over there traveling. And then, of course, we can always use your funds to try and promote this mission over there. I know there's a lot of missions for you to support. I fly Delta quite a bit, and they always say, we know there's a lot of airlines for you to choose, but thank you for flying with Delta. We feel the same way. We know there's a lot of missions for you to choose from, but thank you for flying with the Sudan Mission. It's kind of the way we feel about it. We appreciate just people like you. I had a lady in Eugene, Oregon say, I've never given to a mission before. It's going to stretch me to give $25 a month. That was 3 years ago. She's still sending $25 a month. And she writes every once in a while saying, it was such a blessing for me to stretch myself and do this. So, you know, we take every dollar, whether it's $1 or $10 or $100 or whatever, just to make a life impact on the people in South Sudan. So that's kind of, I'm going to wrap it up there. Do you have any questions that I can answer right quickly? Glad to answer any questions. If not, then I probably, this newsletter, if you would, I didn't bring the newsletter sign up in. I have it out in the car. But if you'd like to get a newsletter, we do a newsletter every month or every other month, depending on when I'm home and I have time, every month. And if you'd like to keep an update on us, just give me your name on a piece of paper and I'll add you to the list we promise we won't sell the list to somebody else and you'll get a whole bunch of information from somebody else. It's just, we will send you a newsletter to keep up with, and this tells us, that gives us the history on the back. Mom passed away. I've had a lot of questions. You guys don't know Mom and Dad. Mom passed away in February of 15 when I was in South Sudan, but Dad's still doing pretty well. And it's a wonderful work that I feel very privileged to be a part, a legacy, a part of that. So, yeah, Sharon.
You didn't mention, but you might tell them how many people have been won to Christ.
Oh, how many people have been won to Christ? Every newsletter, every report, and that's kind of a, I don't release funds back to South Sudan until I get receipts. So we're very, very, very dogmatic almost. No, you're not getting any more money until I get receipts for that last money you sent. And every report I get, they report 50, 60, 70 in a 3-month period of people that have been baptized just because of the mission. And that brings me, when I was there for graduation in 2009 or 2015, the county commissioner got up and spoke, and he said, because of the Sudan African Mission and Paula Marilyn Douglas, 80% of South Sudan is Christian. I think Christian is probably a very loose term, but I don't know that. But at least it has prevented the Muslims from coming into the country and taking it over. And he attributes to South Sudan. We have been with them through the war, and so I have no idea how many people. It's in the thousands that have been converted. When we landed, your news says, okay, it's almost done, I thought. Your news says, I want to take you to see the president. Is it okay if we go see the president? And it's like, okay, fine. And so don't think of the president's mansion like, where's the capital around here? I don't know, Frankfurt? Is that where the capital of Kentucky is? Where's my geography? And so, or my history. And so we go into the governor's mansion. It's just really a mud brick building. And the governor, the president wasn't there, but the vice president was there. And when we walked in, your new, who has been in government, says, this is Bev Campbell, Paula Marilyn Douglas's daughter, and her son, Nick Campbell, their grandson, because Nick, my son, was with me. And they said, oh yeah, we know them. It's like, what? And it was that way everywhere I went. They'd either heard of Mom and Dad, or they knew Mom and Dad. And I did that. Dad used to tell me those stories. Yeah, everybody knows me over there. And I'd say, yeah, whatever. But it really kind of struck home to me that somebody gets off the airplane, the same one we were going to take out of a wheel, and this guy, your news, stops and says, this is Bev Campbell and her son Nick, Paula Marilyn Douglas's daughter and grandson, and blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, we know them, type of a thing. And he said, in fact, I mentioned them in the book I wrote, and so of course I had to buy the book and read it, and sure enough, he does mention that Paula Marilyn Douglas had stuck with them in the war, and he was Secretary of Education or something. But we have some of our men that grew up in the mission, Rye in particular, and Michael Kulach and some of those, they're now in government. And yes, we were disappointed when they left working for the mission, but they're in government, trying to influence the government now. So we feel that we had a little part of that there's still a Christian influence because of that. I don't know how many, every newsletter is 50, 60 in every village. That's just not in one village, in every village. They talked about, 50 people were baptized, or 36, or we're doing X amount of Bible studies. And in 27 years, next year will be 30 years, there's been thousands baptized because of the mission. And not because of what we're doing, it's because of what Christ is doing, what God's doing. And we have turned this over to God. Something very, very simple. My mom and dad aren't wealthy, but they just were at the right place at the right time. Dad tore up cars, driving all over the place just to promote the mission. And he's still very passionate about it, but at 90, he's kind of slowing down a little bit. which is sometimes good, but he'll never just, he went and looked at it, he still lives at home by himself, and he went and looked at a retirement village. I said, so how'd you like that? He said, that's just for old folks. So anyway, any other questions? He's pretty phenomenal, even though he drives you crazy sometimes. Any other questions? I'll be in the back answering questions if you want to. I'd be glad to send you a newsletter. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and just share. Thank you to Dodd for inviting me. We kind of barged in on you maybe, but it's good. I love to tell the Sudan story. I love being a part of it and just being able to tell you people about the people in South Sudan. They don't, every newsletter, every report I get from the guys, they say, we're praying for the people in the United States, and you always think, really? Why would they want to pray for us? And it's not that they want more money from us, they do pray for us. So if they pray for us, then let's pray for them, you know, and that they will have an end to the war. That the peace agreement that was signed again a couple months ago will stick, and that they will start healing themselves and being one tribe under Christ. So, who wants to close? You want to close? You want me to? Okay, thank you so much. I'll be around. Thanks.
It just goes to show you never know what the mission work is. We've got it here at home, and it's all the way around. I thank the lady for coming and sharing in her life. I think it's her life story. For anybody to give up an insurance job and travel to a far country. Who knows? We might have somebody here that has the same feeling. Just give up everything and take off. I don't have anything to hold me here, so take off.
Pack your bags.
But it's good to know, and Brother Dodd, he's been talking about this for some time, and so we're glad you come this morning. Glad to hear what you're doing. Like I said, I had heard about this, but I didn't know anything about it until Dodd got talking about it. So it's very enlightening, and we don't know what lays ahead. But, you know, if we have Christ, and the thing that I thought about when she was talking, learn in Matthew the 28th chapter, it says, go into all the world, teach and preach, baptizing them in the name of Jesus Christ. That's our mission here in the States, is to teach them, witness to them, and win them to Jesus Christ.